Once upon a time in the kingdom of Nui, there lived a young prince named Ikenga. He was the only child of King Nduka and his beloved wife Adanma, who unfortunately passed away while giving birth to him. Ikenga's maternal grandmother took care of him in the Grand King's palace, showering him with love and affection. 6 months after his mother's death, King Nduka decided to marry a new wife named Olanma. Olanma was a beautiful young woman in her early 20s, while the king was nearly 60, when Ikenga was merely 2 years old. Olanma gave birth to her first child, a baby boy named Ugona. From that moment on, Olanma harbored a deep resentment towards Ikenga, viewing him as an obstacle to her own son's ascension to the throne in the future. She sowed the seeds of discord between the two young princes, fostering a toxic atmosphere within the palace walls. However, tragedy struck once again when Ikenga's grandmother passed away when he was just 15 years old, left with his own devices. Ikenga learned to fend for himself and navigate the complexities of palace's life. Time passed, and Ikenga grew into a very fine young man. At the age of 19, the young prince was already the most admirable young man in the whole kingdom. One faithful night, a tragic incident unfolded within the palace. Olanma ran out of her room screaming Ikenga's name in distress. The entire palace rushed to her aid, including King Nduka. When they arrived at Olanma's room, they were met with a harrowing sight. Olanma appeared untidy and torn. She alleged that Ikenga sneaked into her room while she was sleepy and forced himself on her. The news shook King Nduka to his call. He felt a profound sense of shock and disappointment toward his son with a keen eye. The king observed that Ikenga seems intoxicated, further intensifying his anger and dismay, determined to ascertain the truth. King Nduka summoned the palace chief's midwife. To examine Olanma's private part, the midwife confirmed that there had indeed been penetration and the presence of fresh semen. The king was overwhelmed with pain and despair. He knew what he had to do: order the execution of Ikenga, the head to his throne. As that was the custom of Nui, King Nduka could not sleep that night. He went to Ikenga's room to see if he could find anything that would prevent the imminent death of his beloved son. But to his amazement, he found more reasons why Ikenga must be killed. He found different intoxicating concussions and herbs, including a bottle of wine, all pointing to one thing: Ikenga was guilty as charged. One of the king's guard even confessed that Ikenga asked him to get a portion from the village medicine man, that he needed it for something he was to do in the night. The village medicine man was summoned, and he confirmed the guard's story. When asked what the portion was for, he said it was to make a man enjoy sex and last longer in bed. The following morning, as was customary in the kingdom, the king ordered that his firstborn son Ikenga be taken to the evil forest to be executed for sleeping with his wife, the queen. Ikenga protested his innocence, but to no avail. No one was willing to hear him out, not even his beloved father. So, Ikenga was escorted by 2 guards to meet his grim fate. However, on their journey to the evil forest, a white leopard suddenly emerged from the bushes, causing the guards to flee in terror, leaving Ikenga to face his imminent demise alone. But fate had other plans for the young prince. Instead of attacking Ikenga, the white leopard approached him with curiosity. An unexpected bond formed between them, and they became unlikely companions. The leopard led Ikenga deep into the forest to an abandoned old hut. The hut was rumored to belong to an old witch who was accused of killing innocent children in the village many years ago because she had no child of her own. She was taken to the evil forest to be executed, but she killed all the guards and escaped deep into the forest to build a hut where she lived till her death. The white leopard became Ikenga's only friend, companion, and protector. Ikenga would often wander further deep into the forest for hunting and in search of food. One day, in the course of his solitary adventure, he discovered a small village separated from the evil forest by a stream. The villagers often come to the stream to fetch water, wash their clothes, and have their bath the stream. Soon became Ikenga's wonderland. Every day he would go there as the sun rose and returned to his hut at dusk. One faithful afternoon, Ikenga saw a very beautiful, elegant-looking young girl of about his age, a few years younger, swimming in the stream. He was struck by her mesmerizing beauty. While hiding behind a thick bush and basked in imagination, Ikenga completely forgot himself. He lost control and staggered out of the bush. Drawing the attention of the young girl, she turned and saw Ikenga. The girl screamed in fear as she had never seen anyone on the other side of the stream. So Ikenga hurriedly ran back into the thick bush and disappeared. The following morning, the young girl came to the stream earlier than anyone else. She sat at the back of the stream, slowly and patiently washing her clothes, waiting to see Ikenga emerge from the bush. As expected, Ikenga came to the stream early in the morning, hoping to see the beautiful damsel again. She saw Ikenga first, and after thoroughly scrutinizing him and saw that he was harmless, she decided to strike a conversation with him. She started by asking Ikenga if he was from her community. Ikenga responded with a no. So she asked further what Ikenga was doing in the forest. Then Ikenga told her he lived in the forest. Disbelief. How could someone possibly live in the forest? She asked. Ikenga didn't respond. Rather, he asked her what was her name, and she told him her name was Ngozi. Then Ikenga invited her to come see his hut. Out of curiosity, Ngozi happily swam across the stream to join Ikenga. So they both went to his hut. From that day on, Ikenga and Ngozi became close friends. Ngozi's mother was a bead maker, while her father a wealthy farmer. Ngozi learned bead making and farming from both her parents in order to spend quality time with Ikenga. Ngozi would tell her mother to give her some beads to take to her friend's place to make for her. Her mother would gladly oblige her request because she was happy her daughter was interested in helping her out. But instead of going to her friend's place, Ngozi would take the beads to Ikenga's hut, where they would make it together. In addition to bead making, Ngozi also taught Ikenga farming together. They cultivated a very vast farmland in the evil forest, producing all sorts of foods. Many years passed, and Ikenga and Ngozi remained best of friends. One day, Ngozi told Ikenga that soon she won't be coming to his hut to see him because she would be getting married. Ikenga was happy for her and at the same time sad because he was about to lose his only friend. Besides the white leopard, Ikenga curiously asked if her fiancé was from her community and how long they had known each other. She told him they had never met, that it was an arrangement between her father and King Nduka of Nui Kingdom to marry his son, Prince Ugona. Ikenga was shocked to hear his father and brother's names. He exclaimed, "No, Ngozi, you can't marry King Nduka's son?" Ngozi was surprised at his words. So she asked, "Why can't I marry him? Did you know Prince Ugonya before now?" It was then Ikenga realized he should have told Ngozi how he truly felt about her, since the very first day they met, and the true story of how he ended up living in the evil forest, all by himself, when she asked instead of lying to her. Ikenga opened up to her. He told her everything there was to know about him, and how Ugona and his mother, the queen, framed him up with the allegation of forcefully having Canaan knowledge of her, and how he was brought to the evil forest to be killed. Ngozi was overwhelmed by Ikenga's story. She didn't know whether to be sorry for him or angry with him for not telling her the truth over 7 years ago when they first met. To be sure that all Ikenga told her was true, Ngozi decided to find out for herself. She was determined to uncover the true story. Why Ikenga ended up in the evil forest. She devised a plan on the day of the New Yams Festival in Nin Nin, Nui Kingdom. Ngozi went to Ninui disguised as a very attractive princess from another kingdom. Ugonna saw her and was instantly carried away by her beauty. He approached her, and that night Ugonna took Ngozi to his room, unknown to him that she was his bride to be while preparing to lay with her. Ngozi brought out a small bottle containing some portion and gave it to Ugonna, that it would help him from better. She tested from the portion to convince him that it was safe to drink. So Ugonna hastily drank the whole portion. Few minutes later, the portion started working its magic on Ugonna. He started speaking carelessly, divulging his secrets to Ngozi. Ngozi asked about Ikenga, his late brother. So Ugonna told Ngozi all that happened. He told her that he and his mother planned the whole setup. That one day, when Ikenga was out of his chambers, he sneaked in pretending to be Ikenga. He called one of the guards and instructed that he went to the village medicine man to get a particular portion for him, as he needed to take it for what he was to do later that night. Before the guard brought the portion, he had already planted a bottle of wine and other intoxicant in his room. When Ikenga got back, he invited him to his room, and there they both had some fresh wine. He let Ikenga drink with some potent herbs, which got him very intoxicated from his room. He led him to his mother's room, where they executed the last phase of their odious plan. The mother screamed for help, and everyone in the palace rushed to her room to find Ikenga there, and she told everyone that Ikenga forced himself on her in her sleep. Ngozi then asked if Ikenga didn't sleep with his mom. How come there was fresh semen in a private part? Ugonna told her that he was the one who slept with his own mother. The semen they found in her indeed belonged to him. Ngozi was shocked, and at the same time disgusted hearing that part of the story after telling the whole story. Ugonna slept off. So Ngozi sneaked out of his room early in the morning before anyone else was up when she got back. She told Ikenga all that Ugonna had told her. Then she vowed never to marry him, nor have anything to do with him. She called him a wicked prince and his mother an evil queen. So marred days after the New Ice Festival, an evil fate befall Nui Kingdom. A white leopard terrorized the whole kingdom, destroying farmlands and barns and attacking the villagers. This continued for weeks. The leopard would come at the wee hour of the night and wreck it. Havoc till dawn, then disappear into the forest. All efforts by the warriors hunters and able-bodied men in the kingdom to kill the white leopard proved abortive. Many of the villagers fled from Nui to other communities to seek refuge, as the persistent attack by the white leopard did not only pose a huge threat to their lives, but also occasioned a great fine for the people, as they could no longer cultivate their farmland nor hunt for food soon. Nui community almost became a desolate land. Ikenga was saddened when he heard about what was happening in his community, but there was nothing he could do to help his people. So he and Ngozi decided to create a food bank at the entrance of the evil forest. They loaded the place with all kinds of foods, fruits, and meats. 2 hunters from the village were the first to discover the food bank. They were astonished and scared at the same time. So they went straight to the king to inform him of their discovery. The king sent the chief priest and other elders of the kingdom to go inspect the food bank after his inspection and due consultation with the gods. The chief priest declared that the foods were safe for consumption and that the gods had heard their prayers and had provided them food. This continued for weeks. Ikenga and Ngozi would fill up the food bank in the night to avoid being seen by anyone. Then the villagers would come early in the morning to take the food and distribute among themselves. Soon many of the people that had deserted the village started coming back when they heard that the gods were providing them food. Daily seeing that the village was gradually coming back to its old self, except for the white leopard that continued terrorizing the village at night. The king declared the next market day as a day of thanksgiving to the gods. For their divine provision during the Thanksgiving, the king announced that whoever is able to kill or stop the white leopard from terrorizing Nui Kingdom would be given anything he or she requested of the king. But unfortunately, no one was able to take the king up on his offer. Was got to ikenga of the king's offer. He saw it as a way of coming back to the kingdom and take his rightful place at the head to the throne of Nui. But there was just one obstacle, the white leopard. Ikenga wasn't sure if it was the same white leopard, his friend terrorizing the community. So he decided to find out for himself that night. He ensured he spent the whole of the day with the white leopard. So when it was dark, he traced the leopard into the village. And there, he discovered it was indeed his friend, the white leopard, terrorizing his people. The following day, Ikenga, for the first time, spoke to the white leopard as if it were human. He told the leopard everything that happened, and how he ended up living in the evil forest. He further begged it to stop terrorizing his kingdom, that soon he would become king, because his old father, the king, would not be around much longer. Due to his old age, that when he becomes king, he would make him the white leopard, his god in the palace. The next morning, Ikenga told Ngozi that he was ready to go back to Nui to see his father and let him know he was alive and tell him the truth about what really happened. Ngozi insisted she would go with him so she could corroborate his story. So Ikenga and Ngozi set out to Nui, not minding what might happen to them. On their way, they were both surprised to see the white leopard walking behind them. They were very excited and at the same time scared of what the leopard might do. When they get to town, they tried to chase it away, but to no avail. So they allowed it come with them. Then, when the villagers saw Ikenga and his two best friends approaching, there was pandemonium. They all ran away. Their immediate fear wasn't the white leopard, but Ikenga, the slain prince. Did he rise from the dead? Is he a ghost? Did he reincarnate? Those were the questions on their minds. Seeing the reaction of the villagers, the white leopard ran back into the forest. When they got to the palace, Ikenga and Ngozi were given audience by the king. So they told him all that happened, including how they prepared a food bank in the forest. The king was happy that Ikenga was alive and had grown to become a very smart young man. He was, however, very sad that Olanma, his wife the queen, and his son Ugana could do such an abominable thing. The king immediately summoned the chief priests and elders of the land to the palace. He then called Olanma and Ugona, but they were nowhere to be found. They searched every inch of the palace, but there was no trace of the queen and her son. It happened that when Ugona and his mother saw Ngozi and Ikenga approaching the palace, they knew there was trouble in their paradise. So instead of waiting to be disgraced, humiliated, and executed, they quickly ran away. But unfortunately for them, the king's guards intercepted them at the point. They were to board a kano to a nearby village. The guards dragged them back to the palace in Nui. The crimes committed by Olanma the queen, and Ugona, her son, carried death penalties. So King Nduka, after consultation with the chief priest and the elders, did not hesitate to pronounce death penalties on his wife and son immediately. They were taken to the village shrine to perform the necessary rituals because of the incest they committed before their execution. Ikenga himself, having once escaped being executed, intervened and begged his father the king to delay their execution, that if he is able to stop the white leopard from terrorizing the kingdom, his request would be for the king to not execute his brother Ugona and stepmother Olama, but rather banish them from the kingdom, and also no harm would be done to the white leopard. The king obliged his request. He delayed their execution and promised that no one would harm the leopard that night. For the first time since the white leopard started its reign of terror in the kingdom, there was no trace of it, nor was there any destruction or wreckage. 5 nights passed without any trace of the white leopard. So the king, keeping to his words, officially banished Queen Olanma and Prince Ugona from Nui Kingdom to never set their foot on the land again, following his father's promise not to harm the white leopard. Ikenga brought the leopard to the palace to live with him few months after Ikenga's return. The king fell terribly ill due to old age and passed on to join his ancestors. Few days later, after the king's funeral, Ikenga was crowned the new king of Nui Kingdom, and Ngozi became his queen. Under Ikenga's wise and just rule, Nui flourished once more. The kingdom's prosperity was restored, and its people thrived. And so, the tale of Ikenga, the son of King Nduka, went throughout the whole realm. This story serves as a reminder that even in the face of injustice and hardship, resilience, truth can prevail, leading to a brighter future for all. The enduring bond between Ikenga and the white leopard symbolizes the power of unexpected alliances and the strength that lies within each individual to overcome the darkest of challenges. Thank you for watching. I would love to hear your opinion on this video in the comment section, and please don't forget to like and share this video. You can also support me by subscribing to my channel and turn on the post notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my updates. Thank you, bye.